Let's take you live now to Istanbul in Turkey. And these are protests after the arrest of President Erdogan's main rival, the mayor of Istanbul. There have been 2 days of protests, actually. Now, President Erdogan said he won't tolerate threats to public order. He says Turkey won't give in to what he calls vandalism and street terror. But the mayor of Istanbul, who was detained on Wednesday along with others from his party, had been expected to be formally named as that party their presidential candidate for the CHP party. Now, further protests are expected. Let's get the very latest then on what's going on in Turkey after that arrest, and we can talk to our reporter Emily Wither. Emily, just bring us up to date with what's happening.
At the moment, there's a bit of a war of words going on between the leader of the opposition party, Özgür Özel, now that's the party that Ekrem Imamoglu belongs to, and President Erdogan. There was a bit of a turning point last night because for the first time, the opposition party, the CHP, directly called for people to go onto the streets. This statement was made by the head of the opposition party, Özgür Özel. He delivered a big speech to Istanbul, to crowds that were gathered in protest outside the municipality building, which was Imamoglu's office. And I'll just read you directly what he said. He said, "Hey, Erdogan, you're most scared of the streets. We are now on the streets. We're in the squares. Continue to be afraid." So that was the first direct call from the opposition for people to come out onto the streets. We then heard in the last hour or so from President Erdogan. He was speaking at an event here in Istanbul, and he hit back. He said that the CHP, the street that the CHP, the opposition party, are talking about is a dead-end street. This is street terrorism, which is a very clear warning to protesters because the government has banned public demonstrations and gatherings for the next couple of days. That's now been extended into next week. And we are seeing quite a heavy police crackdown. Last night, police used water cannons, tear gas, and what we suspect is rubber bullets. And that warning, calling it terrorism, suggests that there will be more arrests on the streets as well if people go out and protest.
So a real showdown, really, between the president and his supporters and the opposition and those protesters.
Absolutely. And I think we might see that showdown potentially come to a head this weekend because a couple of key things are going to happen. Firstly, it's the weekend, which means we might see more demonstrators come out onto the streets. Even though there are tens of thousands of people on the streets, it is mostly students. And this is a city of over 16 million people. And so the numbers are not quite large enough, I think, to put real pressure on President Erdogan. We could see those numbers build now into the weekend with people not working, and also because the opposition party has called them to the streets. The other thing that will happen is the CHP, the opposition party, is still expected to name Imamoglu, regardless of what happens to him, their presidential challenger in any future elections. We will also likely hear on Saturday or Sunday whether Ekrem Imamoglu is going to be charged or whether he will be released. I think the feeling is that he will be charged and he could end up going to jail. There's one other thing that's going to happen on Sunday. The CHP, the opposition party, has called for a symbolic vote. So that means they're also calling people to come and vote for Imamoglu in ballot boxes that they're setting up all over towns and cities across the country. This is going to be a symbolic vote to show support for this detained mayor, Ekrem Imamoglu.
OK, Emily, thank you so much for that update.